All right. Hey, hey. Welcome back, guys. All right, let's get into a specific message. I pictured in my mind somebody that was in like a really loud environment and that was almost like their ears were buzzing. I don't know. I like the image in my mind morphed from like somebody in a public setting where there was lots and lots of other people there, like an outdoor restaurant, but it was like lots of clattering sounds, plates and cutlery. Then it morphed again and it was like somebody that was in like a crowd. It felt nice, it felt joyful, it didn't feel stressful, but it was just that, oh, ears were buzzing. And then it shifted again, and it was like the noise was just from so much traffic. And then it was like that whomever this character is, like they were just longing for someplace quiet, and they literally pictured like, I just want to be by a river. I just want to be someplace in nature by just the sound of like gentle flowing water, not a roar, not the ocean, nothing big, but just soft and quiet. And so the big thing though was it was like somebody's ears were buzzing. Like that's how it almost felt to me. So I don't know. We'll see where this goes. Hi everyone. So great to see you tonight. Ginger Montague, AC, Tasha, Lauren.co, Wild One. So great to see you all. Hi Tina. Okay, so we start with a page of wands. So we could say this could be a masculine, possibly a fire sign. And it's interesting because even like all this rainbow color swirling around him could represent, like, let's say, the air that is filled with sound. But a page of wands is. All right, all right. Let's hope that fixes it. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I know that just did its buffering thing. Had a lot of problems with, I think YouTube doing a lot of updates, particularly lately. There've been lots of unique new problems, and then some of our old standard stuff. But in any case, I think we're good again. You guys are kind of used to the buffering stuff now, I think. So nice to see you guys. Okay, so what I was saying before we went into the buff zone is his ear is really heavily listed. Hi, did you come to help Mama? His ear is really visible. So I would say it's fair to say, all right, so this character is hearing a lot. But what I was wondering is like in the midst of all the sound that he's surrounded by, this says there's something that he's discovered he likes. He got even a little bit of a smile. It's like in all the din and all the noise, there is something really nice that he does here. And I've never seen this before. You notice how there's this little spot right above his ear. That's actually on the card. That's not like a scratch mark or something. It's and all the time I've been using this deck, which is about a year now, I never noticed that. Okay, so apparently ears are really important. So what is he hearing? He could be a Leo, a Sag, or Aries. He's got possibly, maybe he has particularly like nice hair or something, but King of Pentacles, he's hearing something, some voice that rises above the others, or something that makes him go, that inspires me. That's where I'd like to be. So maybe this is, if he's in a public place and there's lots of noise, like I said, it's somebody who's wishing to be someplace like near the water, near a river or something. And I'm wondering if somehow in all the sound, maybe somebody's giving him like directions or suggesting where he should go, and he's like, oh, I like the sound of that. That's something I could get behind. That's someplace I could go. It's funny, he's holding like this gigantic amulet as if it's like a tiny steering wheel or something. I don't know if there's, I'm picturing somebody's like gonna ride on like a moped or something with a like a small like maybe like a, I don't know, that looks like a tiny steering wheel. But what has a tiny steering wheel? It's kind of ridiculously little. But he's like, I'm gonna go there. That sounds nice. That's my destination. So maybe it's just like a lot of information coming at him. But in amongst all the information, there will always be like one piece of good data, and we go, oh, that sounds like just my style. That's something I want to take that person's piece of advice. I want to go ahead after hearing all these. Right now I'm picturing somebody who's like on a cruise and they're hearing like a loudspeaker or something announcing like all the different things you can do when you come into port or something. I don't even know that's how that goes. I've never been on a cruise, but I'm picturing this as somebody who's like, ooh, I like the sound of that. I'm going to get off at this port and I'm going to go whatever, ride the quads, across, some open terrain or something. Eight of Swords. I don't know though. For this message, I'm going to keep it a little bit more simple and more precise. It sounds more like he is hearing somebody's voice, maybe a lot of voices around him that he doesn't like, doesn't agree with. Even I'm picturing he hears certain, and there's some woman that is repellent to him. Somebody that he's like, you know what, I'm done listening to her. This is like, I cannot wait to get away from her. The one direction I know I'm going is away from her. Maybe it's the pitch of the voice. Maybe it's the personality. It seems like she's the source of all the noise. Look at her spinning. Like she's generating a lot of loud. This is not who he wants to hear. I don't think it's her voice. I don't think it's like a shrill, annoying voice. I think it's persona. I think he's done with a persona. He's done with a personality that is like inflammatory is what I'll say. Two of Wands. Yeah. It's like, wow, they could have chosen to say that in a different way. Instead, it's repelled me. I thank you. You had a choice in how you handled things, but you seem stuck in a rut, and the way you want to keep doing stuff means I want to go ahead and exit stage left. So interesting. See, I thought he was hearing something that he liked, that he wants to gravitate toward, but it turns out that like noxious stimuli is the real reason he's making a different choice. Now, it could be two things at the same time. It could be that he is realizing he'd rather go towards somebody else, and simultaneously he is realizing that there's someone he wants to go away from and someone else he wants to go toward. That Two of Wands says it's a choice of, path A or path B. Should we go right or shall we go left? Violet, I so wish we were all close enough together that we could party for Violet's birthday. I really feel like we should party for Violet's birthday. um, there is this energy of the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune is, this is time. It's time to like open up a channel of energy. It's time. We got that spinning wheel here too, and now we got the spinning wheel here. I would just say that it looks like he's got the opportunity to make a change in his life. Maybe this is part of where he's been. Maybe it's felt like a freaking whirlwind, and it's like, okay, you know what? I'm so after this whatever party, I don't want to be around this person anymore. Or after this whirlwind of being around someone. We keep seeing circles, spirals. I keep thinking that this is something where it's been on a loop for a while, hearing the same thing, and it's like, I'm so over this. I'm getting off this Ferris wheel. He's got clarity now that he's done with somebody, done being around somebody who I think has been in his world for a while. This could represent, if we talk about wheels, we talk about, vehicles having wheels, traveling away, but it also looks like this is the, I don't know, there's like a color palette. He could be an artist. He could be somebody who likes to paint. We have that wheel behind him as well, but it's more, it's not quite an astrolabe. We see all the different zodiacs. It's a zodiacal wheel behind him, but it also is that, corona of, halo of light behind him, the way we would see in a lot of like religious paintings. So maybe he's like Catholic or Greek Orthodox or something, just because this particular imagery really looks like some of the Greek Orthodox to me. There's something here about like expansion now, like his world is expanding. What he's heard has allowed him to change a mindset, and he's expanding in a good way, expanding in a new direction, expanding away from somebody that he doesn't want to be around and expanding towards someone he does. We got the King of Swords. So very clear divine masculine, very clear on what he wants. Not only does he know where he wants to give his energy, but I think he's going to be better at look, everybody has to learn how to say no to different people in our lives, right? The art of saying no, thank you. No, I don't want that. The art of putting up a boundary. those things are sometimes really hard to come by. I know it's been a big struggle in my own life that I'm still working on. I'm better now at almost 45 than I used to be, but still, it can be hard to like not just, you know, immediately try to step up and, you know, like people please or something. And I feel like putting up boundaries is maybe for some of us is a lifelong lesson. Well, he seems like he got there. Like this is him recognizing I can go ahead and say, no, I don't want that anymore. No. And that was, it's not only what he does want to give his energy to, it was the other half of this lesson is saying what I will not give my energy to anymore. So good for him for getting to that point and to be able to do it and not shy away and not even be too nice about it, but just be like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. That's not what, you know, it's how his chest is bare. It's like, my heart doesn't want this. So my answer is no. And I don't see that he's being callous. I see him being honest. I also think he has every right to tell somebody, no, thanks, don't want to be around you anymore. This isn't working for me. I think he needed to get to the point of being able to tell, in this case, possibly an overbearing. I get like a loud, kind of bossy, kind of overbearing, in this case, feminine, somebody who was maybe had like a look at me, I know what's best for you, I'll tell you. I don't know, it feels like it was too much. And I think he needed to be able to actually like sever a connection, say, I'm going in a new direction. This is not right for me. And be able to say that and not feel guilty about it. Maybe he struggled with people pleasing a little bit to a certain extent, you know, and he's like, yeah, don't have to do that anymore. I'm allowed to say no when I have a no to say. Okay, so where are you going? 3 of Cups, sideways. Remember I said it's like he wanted to let go of something, move away from something, a loud energy, and then like the idea was I'd like to move towards something softer. With the 3 of Cups, there is the question mark on his mind. Do I want to go immediately and go start spending time with other people? Maybe this looks like aunties. This always looks like sit down with our aunties and, you know, have some tea. And tea is kind of like soothing and, you know, just have some nice, calm chit chat. I don't know that he's immediately ready to go interact with anybody. I kind of think that he's going to be more selective about who he interacts with. But it does feel like it might be nice to spend time with family. But again, maybe not too much all at once. I feel like he has a couple of, this it always looks like aunties to me, like maybe some feminines that are, you know, kind of nice, kind of softer energy. I almost feel like what he wants is more gentle energy around him right now, especially with the 3 of Cups. This is, you know, emotional support. And we have these lovely blooming peonies. Everything here feels soft, but even that, it's like, I don't know if I need to be around anybody just yet. We have a 2 of coins. And we got this Brooklyn Bridge here. And there's this energy of like, I do think he craves a more graceful energy. But even then, it's like, do I go spend some time with family? Do I spend some time alone? In truth, I think he's thinking about a particular, possibly very different quality feminine. You notice how we had this one kind of loud dancer, kind of inflammatory, and now we have yet another dancer. He definitely has a type, doesn't he? Maybe he falls for dancers. Maybe though he's looking for one who's got a more, I don't know, like a more gracious. It's funny though, because when I see the Brooklyn Bridge, I don't really think of like New York and Brooklyn, you know, I don't think of like the East Coast is so busy, you know, so I don't think of it as being like slow paced, but we do have a bridge that would go over a river. You know, we can find solace anywhere. But I do think of bigger cities as having more noise. I'm not from a big city. I wasn't raised in big cities, although I have lived in them. And I mean, it's definitely a different tempo, but I'll always be, you know, an earth mama country mouse. And there's a significant difference, you know, to the sights and sounds and smells around you in a big city versus, you know, a country setting. But still, it looks like he's kind of debating where he goes next. Maybe he just needs some time to just be solo for a little bit because he can't decide what to do. This card says indecisive. This card says indecisive. Even though there's people that he enjoys, he's not 100% sure he's ready to go and interact just yet with anyone. And we have the Magician. That's good. He needs to get in touch with his own, head, heart, maybe like calm his jangled nerves or something. All of this just feels like he's getting more grounded by the day. But I always think that if we're going to be grounded, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying that I'm right. Maybe it's because I'm an introvert by nature, but to ground my own self, I got to be with myself and not necessarily be with everybody else, chit chat with everybody else. Like I got to just be with me for a little bit to get, settled in, to get soft, to get, comfortable. I don't do so well getting grounded with interacting with others. But again, that's maybe the hallmark of an introvert. But I do think that for him, he needs to like sit outside and just maybe look at the night sky and hear some crickets, maybe hear some frogs. Maybe he does need to go someplace where he can just see the stars and he can sit and connect to the universe, however he does that. We got some sacred geometry, flower of life in the palm here. We have the heart connected to the DNA, connected to the brain. We have the, as above, so below. I think this is a masculine who's quite spiritual, actually. But something in him, it's time for him to like really get into who he truly is and what he truly wants. Three of Swords. That Three of Swords, is that what has been so loud? I didn't think of it like that, where the loudness could have been internal. But now it makes me think that the loudness wasn't outside him. He wasn't in a loud place. It was the loudness coming from his own heart. Something hurt. Okay, a heartbreak, that's loud for sure. A heartbreak, especially if somebody was, I kept saying she's like inflammatory somehow. If that's more like the poetic way to say like his heart was feeling some pain and he's actually recognizing, well, then why would I be continuing to like, let myself hover around, let my mind keep hovering around that? Why don't I move on from that? I don't want somebody that causes me this much grief. I don't want somebody that inflames me like that. I have the choice to move away. I have a choice to move toward a different kind of person, a different kind of energy. So why don't I do that instead? And I think this is him needing to sit with himself. Maybe that's the energy of the river, because I'm hearing Leon Bridges, take me to the river. Dip me in the smooth water. Oh gosh. And I'll wash myself clean. Oh God. I love that song so much. Anyway, we've got the Mastery of Cups. This would be the King of Cups. You notice we have a king 3 times now, right? King of Pentacles. We got the King of Swords and now we got the King of Cups. I know there's a feminine on this card, but this is still a king. We need one more and we got a full-blown Emperor. You notice how his emotions are really getting washed clean. I know instead of seeing anything to do with a river, we actually see octopus, but certainly octopus are aquatic creatures. So I keep feeling like this whole journey for him is like, I need to wash myself clean of some internal turbulence and noise. He may be, he might have been drinking too much at some point also. He might have been like, I think he's great, honestly. He seems to be intelligent. He seems to be a giver. He seems to be somebody that has profoundly deep emotions, but he's needed to let himself heal from something and let himself walk away from a hurt. And instead of gravitating toward, support of family or support of, someone else or a potential new love story, first, he's doing, I think, the really wise thing and letting himself just be solo for a hot minute, because we've got that Action of Wands and this is like, this is a small little motorcycle. There's only room for one on this. He needs to kind of like maybe just get out and clear his mind a little bit. He may be taking a ride on a moped or something, maybe, with the little wheel. Maybe this is somebody who wants to take a drive. The only thing is, if we take drives and rides to clear our heads, still keep our minds on the road. Character, do not drive too fast, do not drive reckless, and do not get, wherever you're going, if you're taking a little road trip or something to clear your mind, still drive safe. Drive safe. Super important. Sorry, but that's just that side note there. All of a sudden I'm like, be careful. We got a Six of Cups. This could be a kind of a subconscious thing. If he's thinking that I need to take a little solo journey, he's breaking away from family support network. He's doing something that's good for him. He's not like, I'm breaking away from my support network because I don't want, I want to push people away. That's not the vibe in this story at all. What it looks like is he's almost like letting his subconscious drawing this other conclusion and gravitating toward a soulmate. Like he may find himself on this path to go toward a soulmate. I'm going to pause for just a second. Zion's gamming. I don't tell you anything about your life, sweetheart. You said in the reading I watched before this, he was not going to be with me, LOL. And then at the end, you said I would marry a Gemini. My ex is Gemini who left me, LOL. These aren't about you, babe. I'm a fictional storyteller, not a psychic. You notice I always talk about characters. No, I don't tell you anything about how your life's going to go. You decide that. Everybody has their own free will. So anybody that doesn't know that about me, welcome to my channel. I'm very different than every other channel you'll see out there because I'm not a psychic. I don't believe that anybody can tell anybody how their life will go. I think we decide how our life will go. So I tell stories that I see. And these stories are fun to listen to sometimes because we get to see how the characters do things. And then we can imagine how we do things different if we were these characters. But at the end of the day, no stranger on YouTube is going to tell you how your personal life is going to go. Or I don't believe that myself. And I don't believe I can do that. So please, by all means, if you're looking for a psychic, do not come to my channel because I'm not one. I'm a storyteller. And I'm always real upfront about that. I write it in my bio and everything. So anyway, but I hope that makes more sense. So we have that Six of Cups, and I feel like he is going to be like unexpectedly, perhaps. Thank you, Zion, you sweetheart. I feel like he's gravitating toward a soulmate without even meaning to. Maybe it's one of those things where his energy, his heart, his manifestations are going to take him directly toward the person he's maybe supposed to interact with. It's so weird because this is going to piss off somebody else. We got this I almost said Queen of Swords, and it's not, it's a Five of Swords. We have all this peace that he is pursuing now, actively pursuing. And then we have somebody else who's still, creating like some drama externally. But I'm wondering if, let me get one more on that Six of Cups. It's almost like somebody's really jealous that he's, I'm going to say repelled by the energy that he had been around and the fact that he's seeking a whole different flow in his life. Yeah. Two of Cups and the Seven of Coins. I would just say this. We may have somebody that was convinced that I am your Two of Cups. Where the hell are you going? She is not their Two of Cups, though, from what I can tell. The direction that he is headed is more spiritual. The direction that he is headed is like he's gravitating toward, like his subconscious mind even knows where to take him. And it's because there's some powerful bond elsewhere. This has like been a long time coming for him to like recognize this and get to the point where he's like, I'm feeling more whole all the time. I'm moving away from things that are wrong for me, and I'm moving toward things that I feel called to. I don't know if the Two of Cups soulmate person is someone that he considers very regal, somebody that he considers to be, like they're both like leaders somehow, like emperors and empresses kind of energy. That's who he's supposed to match with. That's who he's gravitating toward. And I think that this has been something that he's needed to do for a really long time. But who is the person who is going into Five of Swords energy? Because I mean, this feels like somebody's pretty pissed off. It's a person he's no longer talking to. It's the Eight of Wands in the reverse. It's a person he's walking away from. It's a person he's exiting from. It's a person he's no longer interacting with. And they feel left out. It is most likely the person that he's been, and I'm so sorry to keep saying repelled by, because that sounds so hurtful. That sounds so mean. But if it's not the person, if it's a person who constantly brings in inflammation or maybe isn't very supportive in some ways, you notice he had that heartbreak here. And enough heartbreak that it was, I almost think he was with somebody who always had like harsh things to say. And the difference of energy that he's seeking is now somebody that actually mirrors his energy, matches his energy, someone that he can grow with, somebody that he can plant seeds and like true support, instead of somebody that like maybe she thought she was challenging him. I feel like this was a very bossy energy that actually had some cutting things to say. Well, I don't know, like maybe snarky humor or something like that. And it really didn't resonate with him at all, because he's looking for something so different, someplace that he can nurture and grow. And, if you nurture and grow anything, whether it's, kittens or, flowers, you don't transplant your little seedlings roughly. You handle them gently. You don't roughhouse your houseplants if you step them up. You handle them gently. You don't hold babies roughly or kittens roughly. You're gentle with them. So if you want to nurture anything, you treat things with care. You don't have to challenge them, and I'm just feeling like that's maybe the kind of person he was around. It's the kind of person he doesn't want to be around anymore. This is the kind of person that was actually causing him heartbreak, although it seems like she's equally as pissed that he's been repelled by this kind of harsher energy. I feel like the difference here is between somebody that was not a true match, but was rather like someone that constantly was like maybe they thought they were pushing him or that he needed to be pushed or something like that. But it was, again, it repelled because he's a king. He doesn't need somebody to push him anyway. You can, I mean, I know sometimes we say, well, it's nice to have a partner who like pushes us to be better, but there's different types of push, right? When we push somebody to be better in a supportive way, it might be like, I just know you're smart enough to do anything you want to do. I know that you got this. I know that if there's this dream that you have, you will find a way to make it come true. And if I can help you as your partner, I'll help you. Like, that's a different way to push, instead of being like, well, when are you going to get to it then? Thought you were going to do it. Did you get up at 5 and get started? Like, that's a harsh way to say it. And I'm just wondering if that's maybe the difference. He wants a partner that like maybe speaks the same like language, maybe is supportive in a different way, a softer way, a kinder way, a genuinely nurturing way. That seems to be what the real core of this story is. That being challenged by somebody was actually hurtful. The way somebody was talking to him was actually hurtful, and he didn't want to be around that anymore. He wants somebody softer. And I think that's exactly the direction he's going. But that further pisses this person off. I don't know if that matters at all. The Hanged Man in the reverse. Here's the tough part. She might have really loved him in her way. And maybe it's a little too late for her to realize, well, I could have been soft. Maybe she didn't know how to be soft. Maybe there's an energy of her that needed to change. You notice we have that serpent, and you notice it's like, well, I could have been soft. I could have, been flowery and had this blossoming rose for a mouth. I could have said softer things. This says she's seeing it differently now, but I'm wondering if, it's an interesting story, because it definitely is giving us insight into these different characters and what, like the different ways that we can behave toward each other. I don't even know if she was having such a good time, this person that was more harsh. I don't know that she was enjoying being harsh. And it definitely looks like she's pissed and maybe hurt that he's going a different direction, but she's seeing it from a different avenue too. Like, that's what he wanted. Well, I mean, I could have been softer, but I would have had to change a lot of my persona to be softer. I don't know. Maybe she's just pissed that he wants something other than her personality. But in this storyline, that is what we've got. Can you tell me anything about who he is gravitating toward? Ace of Cups, somebody, again, we have that sensitivity. So, the suckers on the tentacles of an octopus, that's how they taste the world. And octopus are very shy creatures. They're also like very smart, but they taste the world with those little suckers. So they experience the world differently. The person that he's gravitating toward is somebody whose heart is maybe a little more gentle, who maybe like absorbs a little more quietly and understands, and gives their heart a little bit more gently. Everything here says gentleness is what's the everybody wants gentleness, especially when we've been hurting, right? Everybody needs a gentler approach when we hurt. Sometimes the snarky, sassy, quick-witted, that can be really fun, but it can also be over time like corrosive, maybe is what this is hinting at, because it definitely seems like it made him say, this isn't what I want on the day to day. In fact, it hurts. In fact, it's kind of crushing me. I don't want to be in a loud place. I want to be by a river. I want to be where there's emotions flowing. I want to be able to share my emotions. I want to be with somebody I can be emotional with, instead of like the harsher, snarkier energy. I don't think that this character who was sharper was intending to be harsh. I think it was just maybe, everybody is in a different place. It's environment, it's sometimes, influence, it's the group we hang out with. Sometimes we find ourselves being like high power and, bossy and stuff because there's a lot to get done and we got to take care of business. This just feels like she was stuck in this rut, and there was definitely an energy of like, look at me, I'm in charge kind of vibe, but always inflammatory. To For his taste right now, it was loud. It was even demanding and competitive, and that's not what he's looking for in a partner at this point. Yeah, I think if anything, it's more of an insult to her pride that he doesn't want to be with her, and that he's instead choosing and is more passionate about somebody that is peaceful and calm. She may even think this, the woman that we see that's associated with all the swords, the one who's like pissed that he's going a different route, it's insulting to her pride. But she may even think that the individual that he's gravitating toward, or the lifestyle that he's gravitating toward, is like, oh, that person is so dull. You want to be with somebody who's, olive, always going to be an olive branch. She's not going to fight with you. She's not going to push you like I do. Yeah, but I think that's exactly what he wants. And that's where he's going to thrive. Like, everybody thrives in different environments. I'm not trying to vilify this other feminine who seems to be much harsher in her approach, or, she's pretty sure she's got it all right and she likes the way she is. So more power to her. Be who you want to be, right? But you're not going to match with everybody. And right now, she's not matching with this king anymore, because a king actually wants somebody that, if there's conflict, they would choose to offer peace, offer the olive branch. He's way more passionate about somebody who wants peace instead of conflict. And I think that is not at all the previous partner that he had. And the previous partner that he had doesn't understand that about him. May even think that that's kind of like, oh, that's a dish rag way to behave. You just want calm and peace. Well, yeah. When we're in places of calm and peace, that's when we can actually build things. When it's constantly fighting, it's destructive. It's wasted energy too. I don't know. I definitely feel like we're describing two vastly different feminines, and the fact that he's recognizing what he actually matches better with. Now, it doesn't have to be feminines, masculines. This could be same-sex couple. This could be, hell, we don't even have to talk about this like it was about love. This could have all been about what kind of a boss he wants to work for, what kind of a company. There's definitely different environments, where everybody's highly competitive and it's high energy and it's super intense, versus like a career path where it's like, oh, it's, we tend to things, we go a little slower, we nurture things, we, it's like more person to person, centric. It's not this high power like sales pitch. It's this softer energy. Hi, speaking of softer energy, hang on, the baby. Come, baby. You want to come up? No, you just want the mommy. Okay, the mommy will come with you in a minute. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you so much. Do you want to come up? You can. I'm going to go ahead and disappear on you guys because he's going to start chirping in just a second. So lots of love, you guys. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to say goodbye, but here it comes. Bye.